So, I was thinking while I was making this photo, a thought had popped into my mind about something that happened, give or take, several months ago. A company I was working for, they were asking me for they were asking me for a personal photo, and at the time I was just kind of like, they have my badge, they can, they could use the photo from that because they took photos, obviously. But the funny part is that they kept sending these emails like every week, just asking for a personal photo, and I was, at this point, I was just kind of getting annoyed because this actually went on for like months. One day, they started sending me an email like every day, and these emails, they started sending them to my HR, which then trickled down to my boss. So my boss pulls me aside one day, and he goes, "Hey, can you just go ahead and send them a personal photo?" And I just basically played stupid. I was like, "What? They were asking for a photo?" And so I was like, I asked him, "Why aren't they just using the photo from my badge?" He goes, "Well, they're not using them because they want a personal photo, like, I don't know, I guess like a professional photo." And I thought for a second to myself, I'm like, okay, if they want a professional photo, I'll give them a professional photo. And I told my boss, look, I'll get you that photo tomorrow. At the time, I was working nights, and I was, all the stuff that I had to take care of at night was basically just consumes all my time anyways, but that's not the point. I just told him, yeah, I basically I wanted some time to put something together, which I did. So the next day, that night I went home, the next day technically, I went home and I started working on a photo, and I made one, and this is the one that I sent to them, right? I get an email back from them, and they tell me that the photo is too big. So when I had sent it, it was pretty huge photo, I guess. Whatever, it didn't matter. Anyways, so I shrunk the photo down, and I resent it back to them, and they said, and next thing I know, I get an email the next day. They were like, "Oh, the photo's too small. We can't see you in it. We just need a picture." The photo size needs to be like 100 pixels by 100 pixels. So I was like, oh, okay. So I cropped out the section where I was at in front of the idol, and I basically sent that photo back to them. Well, I get another email, and they said, the photo is inappropriate. And I just kind of laughed to myself. I was like, well, you asked for a professional photo. They in the email, it basically says, we want a professional photo. And I just kind of laughed about it. But when I got that email, I replied back, and I basically said, it is a professional photo. It's professionally done by me. And then they kicked the email back, right? And they said, no, we want a picture of your head and shoulders. So I kind of laughed to myself when I read that, and I was like, all right. I went over to the store, grabbed a bottle of Head and Shoulders, and I took pictures of it, right? And then I thought, all right, you want a picture of my Head and Shoulders? Okay, here you go. So I sent this picture to them. And the next day, like, they didn't reply. Like, nothing. So I was like, oh, man, are they going to take that photo? Hell yeah, I'll use that one. The next day, my boss comes up to me and he goes, we'll get through this. We'll get through this, man. And I was just like, what? So I went to log back into my profile. The whole point of the photo was for something with the company's site, their like Facebook. That's kind of what I gathered out of it. At least that's what everybody else kept telling me. Anyways, he sends me an email, right? And he says, he goes, I went ahead and just used the photo from your badge. And I just kind of laughed to myself. I was like, wait. So the whole time when I went to log into the company, the site where they were asking me to submit the photo, they locked me out of it. They locked me out of submitting another photo. So I was kind of laughing to myself. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm done with that. My boss, like I said, he came back to me and he tells me, he goes, yeah, just use your badge photo. So they took that one. I was like, I just laughed. I laughed because I was like, man, that's ridiculous. And this whole thing I thought was done. I thought it was done because nothing. I didn't hear anything back for like a week. Well, after that week, they sent out a mass email to everybody telling them that they all had to change their personal photos. So basically, they couldn't have like pets or their families in the photos and stuff like this. And everybody was all pissed off, and they were like, what the hell? How come we have to change our photos now? This is ridiculous. So when I overheard a couple people say that, I was like, hey guys, I just wanted to apologize. I didn't know that this was going to get out of hand like this. I didn't think they'd make a big deal out of it, but they sure did. And they were like, what happened? So I told them this story, and I showed them the picture, and they were like, what? They got offended over that? That's stupid. So because of that incident, like, everybody had to change their photos. I personally thought it was funny. But I was actually going to send out a mass email back and show everybody the picture that it was quote unquote offensive. Because I would have thought, I thought it was funny. But I don't know. That was that. I thought it was hilarious. But anyways, back to what I'm doing.